Got this.
I'm going to start the Zoom recording just in case.
Yep.
Thinking.
And can you hear me well enough?
I can. You are great. We are now streaming on YouTube, my dear. So
aloha from
aloha.
Hawaii.
I have Claudia here with me today. Thank you for going through those technical difficulties with me. But just in case. Oops. Yeah. And I hear myself over here.
And can you hear me well enough?
I can.
Yes.
Can. You are great. We are now. Oops. That was your feedback.
So oh that was before.
Aloha. I have Claudia here with me today. Thank you for going. All right, we're good. Sorry about that. Okay, so I have Claudia here with me today from beautiful Hawaii. She's got a little bit different atmosphere than I do here in Minnesota, but thank you so much for jumping on here.
So much fun.
I love your message. I think you're such a gift to this world. So I really am looking forward to chatting with you.
It's frozen. Hi.
Are we there? We good?
I am here.
Okay.
I kind of like bloopers, so.
You know, when it comes to me and technology, bloopers is what you get, Claudia.
Bloopers are awesome. Bloopers are great.
We're all about authenticity, low stress. We just go.
That's why I live in Hawaii.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to get any less stress than here.
No. Oh my God. I've never been to Hawaii.
It's good. You have a friend here now.
I do.
And so do everybody else out there.
Yes. So would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? The platform is yours. We'll just talk back and forth.
Okay.
We're friends. We're having fun.
Yes, we are having fun. I am, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I am very grateful to be here today. I live in Hawaii and I have been a mind-body fitness trainer for 35 years. Wow. I'll give you the short story. The short story is that when I was a teenager, I was in a car accident, among other traumas that I wasn't following a really good path on. And I was in a car accident as a passenger of a drunk driving accident. And this accident really messed me up. I was in the hospital for a long time. I had surgeries, this and that. And when I was in physical therapy, I got really interested in exercise. And I changed my life in a big way and ended up going to Hawaii for 2 months to do this 8-week training when I was 8 years old. And when I was 18 years old, for 8 weeks, not 8 years old, for 18 weeks. 8 weeks at 18. And I studied mind-body fitness, yoga, Tai Chi, all these amazing things that people didn't really talk about back then. And in that process, I became very aware of myself and some of the things that had happened to me when I was younger. And I don't need to go into too much detail about life traumas, as everybody's had them. But that kind of pushed me and springboarded me into the fitness field and studying mind-body exercise and psychology. And then I became a hypnotherapist and an instructor trainer. And I've traveled all over the world training instructors. I lead private trainings for instructors as well as I do conventions and conferences. And my specialty at home when I'm working with private clients is I do trauma-sensitive fitness and hypno-fitness, which is hypnotherapy and fitness. And I work with Parkinson's. I work with multiple systems atrophy, which is another kind of neurological disease, and several other kind of chronic injuries, pains, disc problems, and general body problems that other people don't seem to fix. Does that make sense? So sometimes people come to me as a last resort.
Yeah. So when you say trauma fitness, what is, could you explain a little bit more about what that is?
I would love to. Trauma-sensitive fitness. Trauma-sensitive fitness, it's a new term. You probably haven't heard that much about it. But what we're doing is we're coming at the fitness industry with the idea that we want to be a little bit more sensitive to people as they're moving their body, because what we've learned in the last 20 years is that a lot of emotions are stored in the body. Basically, your body is a body of history, right? It literally is your story of your life. And what I've learned in the last 35 years, especially in the last 25 years, because I'm also a massage therapist, is I have learned firsthand that emotions are stored somehow in the body, and certain conditions will trigger that and cause kind of an environment where people may behave in certain ways that, for example, they may become disassociated, right? Or they may become more intense, or they may become clingy or more afraid to do something. So these little triggers that happen because we start moving the body, if somebody had in the past some sort of trauma, right, we would be able to, as fitness instructors, come from a place of compassion, right? And understanding about how, not what happened to the person, but how that comes out through the body, as we were going to discuss today. Does that give you a little clarity?
Yeah, that I've never heard of that. And that is so fascinating, and it's so true, because even when, I'm learning, working through my childhood traumas, I'm learning to listen to my body, because we tend to block out the pain, right? We don't want to feel it. We just want it gone, and we almost numb ourselves.
Right.
And so there's certain things that will trigger me, and I'll feel it like in the back of my neck, or I'll feel like my head will get real hot. And that I associate that with things in the past, because that's how I felt before. So that is so and it helps, I'm assuming, them a lot get through.
Yeah, I have testimonials somewhere. My cat's right here, he can testify. Yeah. But I practice all my best bits on him. So how did this even start? Well, it started through my own body originally, but I was taught this by one of my mentors in that 8-week training. And I'll kind of, since you're asking, I'll tell you how this kind of started for me, and how this
I'd love
system became to be. We did a course, and every week it was a 2-hour class. And the first part of the class, we sat down and we took a piece of paper, and we didn't know, the teacher would just say, just draw your head, for example. Mm-hmm. And so we'd get some crayons, and everybody would draw their head in a circle, and we'd put the paper to the side. And then for about an hour, we would exercise and we would dance. And the teacher would make us do different movements, breathing. Maybe we would talk or scream or stomp around. It would depend on what she felt like doing that day. And then we would do all this stuff. And at the end of the dancing and the moving and getting the body really sweaty, and breathing, she'd have us all lay down on the floor and do a very long meditation, like a 20-minute meditation. And then the meditation would take us through the body parts. And she did it in such a way where we would have a chance to have a dialogue with our body. And in that process, I realized, of course, week by week, we did a different body part. And I started to come to terms with different things that happened in my past that I didn't understand or couldn't remember or couldn't recall. And that was kind of, for me, the beginning, besides the car accident. The car accident was the thing that got me interested and catapulted me to go into this other thing. And then that particular class had a very strong effect on me. And what was so amazing about it was at the end of, so you did 8 of these classes, so it's 16 hours. You did every body part. I think we started with feet and legs and all the way up the body. But at the end of it, your homework assignment was you had to draw an outline of your whole body and either draw in it or cut out things. And you had a life-size I even have a picture of it somewhere, a life-size picture of yourself that you drew and that you created the reality of that new being. So it was basically like an uncovering and then a rebirthing. But it wasn't, I mean, it sounds really airy-fairy, and I guess it kind of was.
No, I think I'm fascinated.
It's
You've
still
got me
a
like,
course that I teach every now and then.
yeah.
I love it. So what I've done with this particular work from then is I've created over the last 20 years a 12-week course where every week we do, 1 week we focus on legs, and then there's exercises and movements and thoughts and feelings and understandings about the body and dialogues, and then kind of moving upward through the body each week. We don't do the drawing, but we could do that if you wanted to. But usually the way that I do it is through meditation, hypnosis, and fitness, like plain old fitness, either weights, which is my favorite thing to do, of course, because weights are so good for your body. Yoga, which obviously I'm a trained yoga teacher, and Pilates, which I'm also a trained Pilates teacher, and anything else that I can get out of the kitchen sink. And my clients generally call me MacGyver of fitness, because I'm usually like, okay, we have a fork, and then, and then here, we'll use this, and before you know it, they're working out.
I love it.
It's true.
See, sister, you've already blown my mind. I had no idea, like, correlating all of those things together, how powerful that could be.
And fun, if you want it to be. See,
Right.
That's the thing.
So when people come to you,
Mm-hmm.
they come to you like, I want to do Pilates, or are you more, I don't want to say trauma healing, because that's not the right word, but
it never comes that way. The way that it comes is somebody says, hey, I'm out of shape. I want to get in shape. And it's like, okay, what do you want to do? I love Pilates. Can you do Pilates? Yes, we can do Pilates. And you'll probably do some weights too.
Because I love weights.
So yeah, you have to lift. So that starts the process. And then in that process, because I always do meditation and some sort of relaxation in my course, or some kind of mind-body thing. Now, how it comes up through the exercise is completely individual to the client. It's hard for me to say exactly if and when it becomes a trauma coaching session.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to get at is not at what happened to them, but what the feelings they're having, maybe it's blame, shame, guilt, disassociation, or perfectionism, whatever is going on with them, feelings or issues. It's more about that and not about what happened, because it doesn't matter. As an adult, you can go back and try to do all that, and that's fine. However, what is more important in the moment is getting people grounded. So I'm going to give you another example, if that's okay.
Yeah.
For example, I'll give you this example. So we have that person, they're like, hey, I want to train, kind of don't really exactly know what they're getting themselves into. They may be in meditation, and I will notice immediately, I'll say something like, if you feel like it, go ahead and close your eyes. And if they can or cannot close their eyes, will be also an indicator of maybe if they had trauma. Okay. So I can tell through different things that I watch, that I observe, if there may be a trigger happening in that moment. And then what I can do is I can redirect the session. Yeah. And so that's what I teach instructors how to do, is how to kind of figure it out kind of before it happens. And honestly, we should just come from that place anyway. As trainers, as a fitness trainer, and I don't know how many fitness trainers are even out there in your audience, if there are, or any kind of
I've got lots of fitness trainers, yeah.
Right. We want to come from a place of compassion. We want to come from a place of understanding and realizing that we don't know, and we've never lived in that person's shoes. And 9 out of 10 times, no one will tell you that they had any sort of trauma. So we want to come from the place of compassion, we want to come from the place of understanding, instead of do this, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, hurry up, do 500 more, and just that kind of old-fashioned beat people up fitness that really, and not that there isn't a time and a place for that. That could also, people like that too, as a result of some unresolved issues. Not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that we all have a preference. But as coming from, as a trainer coming from a trauma-sensitive area, I just assume that everybody had something.
Yep.
I don't know what it is, and I don't want to know, and I don't need to know. What I know I need to do is I need to just recognize that people need to learn grounding exercises or things that ground them. Yeah. Now, I'll take this to COVID, because that's kind of what we wanted to talk about, right, today?
Yeah.
So how does this relate to COVID-19? So it relates to COVID-19 in that this is a situation where people have become isolated, number one, locked down, confined. That's a huge one. Wearing a mask. Let's just say wearing a mask. And I'm going to go to like the worst forms of taboos, because I know you said we could kind of talk about this. But let's say, for example, that and I can, because I've worked through a lot of my own stuff, and I know, and I want to be compassionate for anybody out there who has had any trauma that they're surviving or even realizing. But like wearing the mask and having something covering your mouth, that's another form of feeling, pushed down. So we look at that and start to realize that, there's a lot of triggers out there for people. Maybe someone's irate and upset and freaking out because of a past thing that happened to them. And now, and I'm, I'm wearing this mask and I'm freaking out and I don't know why. I can't breathe. I feel confined. I feel claustrophobic. I don't know what you feel, but I'm just saying whatever you feel.
Yeah.
And so in that process, I will ask people, how does it feel? Maybe your right arm to your left arm. And by those answers, I can, like I said, change the direction or notice. I would never try to push somebody into talking about it, only if it comes up organically and naturally.
Right. Yeah.
And with COVID, we want to assume that.
Yeah, for sure. And the big trigger with me and COVID and the masks, when you say that, like I got goosebumps, because I totally can relate to that on so many levels. For one, I'm claustrophobic. And for two, not being able to see a person's face. I don't like that. I like to be able to read people's expressions. So that has been very challenging for me. And so it's funny because since COVID hit, I mean, I used to do yoga and meditations and I was in tune, but then it was like COVID hit and boom, like everything just, it was like, I don't have time for this. I can't think about it. The noise in your head. So that is so
extra noise. Yes.
Yes.
It's like, normally in life when you're dealing with your regular traumas and there's nothing going on, it's like, you ate a hamburger, you ordered a hamburger with, cheese. With COVID, it's like a double meat hamburger with extra cheese and, a lot of layers.
Right.
It's a lot of layers. And it's unconscious, a lot of this. And I totally get it. I'm hearing from my clients on a regular basis these feelings of hopelessness or feeling of depression or I don't need to confine, but that feeling of being pushed down.
Lots of pressure.
Pressure, thank you.
Yeah.
Pressure. So how does it show up in the body? It shows up in a lot of ways. One way that it shows up, and this is the way that all of your guests can start to really notice this, clenched fists and tight jaws. Those two things, like those are my first, those are the first two things I look at on somebody. Are they clenching their fists and are they clenching their teeth? And those two, now I'm not saying that that's their, they have some weird childhood trauma, but if there was, and the conditions now, which are traumatic, imagine this never happened to you before. That's traumatic enough.
Right.
So those two things. Now, what can you do? Well, you just notice. It really is that simple. Mind body fitness. It's all this like, oh, it's airy fairy. It's nothing more than what you already know how to do. It's becoming self-aware, but not in a way where you're so self-aware that you're an extreme narcissist and you don't care about other people.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those of us who've been triggered in this way are usually not the type of people that would necessarily be narcissistic. We're usually the people who date them. Sorry, I had to go there, but because it's kind of true. True. And I know my trauma survivors out there hopefully will think that's funny. The other thing that I like to talk about with trauma sensitive fitness is we tend to be like, oh my God, everyone's gonna start crying. It's gonna be this awful thing. And yeah, it's all shitty. And I said shitty on your show, so.
That's okay. You drop F-bombs if you want.
Oh, good. I can say anything I want.
Be you. That's all I ask.
It's all not good stuff. However, you'll find that trauma survivors and people who've had past histories are very strong and very funny and very compassionate and very self-effacing. A lot of times you'll notice they just make fun of themselves more than most people.
Yeah.
They'll be the first people out there to volunteer for something. We go the 10 extra miles and sometimes we suffer for it. And that's what I'm here to teach people is that you don't have to suffer in silence, number one. There is a way to work through it without having to go, crazy into your past, but just start working through your body. And as things come up, make a choice. Hey, maybe I need to go and see a therapist. Maybe I can do this on my own. Maybe I need to join a group. Mm-hmm. And I'm part of, can I keep talking? I'm part of the group. There's a foundation founded by one of my very good friends. Her name is Athena Moberg, and it's called the CPT, Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Foundation. Say that 10 times fast.
Say it one more time. I'm going to write it down and put it in the show notes.
Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. CPTDS. See, tell a dyslexic person that.
Awesome. Foundation. Okay.
She started this, and she will tell a story. She will tell her stories. Very hard stuff. We met. I trained her. We've known each other for years. She had this is how I got into it. She had some stuff come up as we were training. I'd already been doing the work, but I didn't realize how quickly it could go wrong. So I'm telling you my failure. She did really well. Started losing weight. I did mention that things might come up. Things came up. She disappeared, went into her eating disorder that she used to have. And then I didn't see her for a long time. It was, tricky. Then we got back together and she explained to me, hey, Claudia, this happened to me. I didn't know how to process it. And of course, we managed to get back together, and we've done some work together on trauma. And then she became the founder of this organization that serves so many people across the globe, across the globe. And my cat's here to say hi, by the way.
Oh, hi, kitty, kitty, kitty.
Can you see her? And I am
can.
so grateful to know this woman. And I want to make sure that that goes in the show notes as well, because there are resources for whether you're a consumer, whether you're already a trainer, whether you're just, you know, working on the edges here. And there's something for everybody in this group.
Yeah. And this is you're like the perfect first guest, because this year, I think a lot of people had a lot of time to look inward, and a lot of people probably don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. That's how this whole thing came out.
Yeah.
I was already doing the work. I just didn't think that people were interested or would be coming to it.
Right.
Pretty sure nobody would come because who wants to talk about that?
Right.
However, because I have a sense of humor, I think people are interested now. I mean, to me, I have a sense of humor, but because we can make it kind of fun, make it not as scary.
Right.
And that's all I care about at this point, because I realize that this process, not just us here in America, not just people in Canada, not just people in Europe, this is everywhere. This is Australia, this is China, this is Singapore, you know, everywhere. And I know people all over the world, and I'm hearing from my friends the same stuff.
Oh, you do beautiful work, my friend. I'm so glad we connected, because
thank you.
The connection.
I want to help more people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put all of your information. I had it all nicely typed out in the other program we were going to use, but that's okay.
That's okay.
So I will make sure all of your information is uploaded into the show notes. I'm going to put it in my Facebook group, on my business page. And if anyone wants to find you, Claudia, where do they find you?
They can go to my website, www.claudiamicco.com. And they can find out more about trauma sensitive fitness and hypno-fitness, which is the other thing that I do, like a little lighter version of trauma sensitive fitness. It's hypnotherapy and fitness, because, you know, you can just think yourself thin, right? And just think about it, and our bodies will be perfect. That was a joke.
Oh, six-pack.
That's only half of it. It's half of it, though. I know. Believe me, then I would be a millionaire, right? If that were. You can't hypnotize yourself thin, but you can hypnotize yourself, because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, into creating better habits and patterns. And that's what I do with that. And we still do the body part work, but it's a little bit different. And I also do anti-diet as well.
Ooh. I'm going to have you on again. I can already tell.
Yeah, we can have a lot of fun. And then the other, what else did you ask me? I think that's all. Just the website?
Yep. Anything where to find you? You're on Facebook, Instagram.
Yes.
Do I have your Instagram handle? I don't think I do.
Claudia.Micco. Same thing.
Okay. It's easy.
And I do yoga workshops. I'm doing a workshop next Sunday. So you can find me on Facebook. Just friend me. It'll be a yoga workshop about the chakras.
Nice.
And yeah, so basically a little preview of that is just taking the idea of the energy centers, the 7 energy centers of the body, and looking at them from not just a metaphysical, but also a physical point of view and an anatomical point of view. And looking at, you know, the intuition, the higher consciousness, the communication, the heart and love, the power, you know, sexuality, and so on down the chakras.
Beautiful. Oh, that's one place, like my sacral. I did Reiki a while back, and I worked with a womb coach, and it was like a dark cave of spider webs down there. you know?
Well, yes, we are. We can have a whole class about that.
Oh,
But not today. But yes, we can definitely talk about that. I do we have a whole pelvic floor, pelvis thing.
you're wonderful. You are wonderful.
But
I
I
appreciate you
love it all.
so much. You are like a gift to this earth, and I know you're going to help so many people.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to have you on this channel and talking with me. And I'm definitely going to have you back if it's something you're interested
I love it. Look,
Okay.
if I just signed up, I didn't even know what I was getting into. Amanda was like, "Hey, you've got to meet," and here I am. And like I said, I'm happy to share anytime, anywhere. This is really important stuff right now. What people can do now, just keep moving. Have to keep moving.
Yeah, especially when you don't want to.
Especially when you don't want to. And things like opening the chest, opening the throat, trying to really get some movement, some rotation, that's important. We have to keep these areas of our body, all of the energy centers, we need to keep all those areas open, and that will help keep our mind open, our consciousness open. If you feel bad, you're going to notice you're like this. If you feel good, you're going to notice you feel like that.
I'm notorious for that, for the shoulders hunched forward. And when you said that, I was like, whoop.
And it's just the thoughts. And, it's not the hour that you work out or the half hour a day that you work out. It's really that other 23 hours. That's really where your workout begins. Not when I see you.
Right.
It begins there. What do you do when you get up in the morning? How do you do what you do? What do you put in your mouth? What's going in and out, of your consciousness? And then when you get to me, that I don't want to have to fix everything up.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It should start like the second we get out of bed, we are working towards vital health. And so I know we don't do it, but even if we can 1 minute out of that hour, we notice, oh, I'm clenching my fist, or oh, I'm not breathing fully, or oh, my posture's here.
Yes.
That's it, just a little bit. It's amazing.
It is. Well, thank you again so much for your time. We'll be in contact soon. And again, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Well, I could sit here with you for hours.
We'll do another one. Think of a subject. Ask the audience if they're interested in any. I can even do off the cuff.
Awesome. I'm here for it. I am here for it.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to reading more and seeing people in the group later. So I'll go in and I'll check the comments. And if anybody has any questions and you want to talk to me privately, please feel free to private message me.
Yes. And everyone watching this, Claudia will be in there. So please, and if someone reaches out to you, please don't. It's a community. It's not like these are my people. No, it's not like that there. So we're all family.
I know you're all about authenticity and heart and love. And I'm so with what you're doing. So feel free to ask me. I'll support you.
I love it. Thank you so much, my love. I will talk with you soon.
Aloha.
Aloha.